As the film starts, Phineas, Ferb, Candace, and Dr. Doofenshmirtz find themselves captured by some robots and are being fed to a monster. Phineas just can't get how their day ended in such a manner, yet everything started out so well that morning. Earlier that day, Phineas and Ferb woke up quite joyfully alongside their beloved pet platypus, Perry, who wakes them up with his clattering teeth, and they sing about how he makes their days happier. As they head downstairs, their parents remind them of Perry's anniversary, and they reminisce about the day they chose him from the animal rescue shelter. Later that day, Phineas and Ferb play baseball, launching balls from Perry's tail, and their friends Isabella, Baljeet, and Buford join in the fun as they create a giant launcher. Meanwhile, Perry sneaks away from them and enters his secret lair, where he works as an undercover agent for an organization called OWCA. His boss, Major Monogram, reminds him to always keep his cover from his host family, lest they discover and he be transferred to a different city, just like he was assigned from a pet shelter by their other agent, Carl. Major Monogram also instructs Agent P to stop a Dr. Doofenshmirtz from finishing his latest invention, an interdimensional related innator, and they give him some high-tech gadgets for his new mission. Back at home, Candace tells her friend Stacy that she is sick of looking like a child, and she also plans to burst up her brothers with their crazy inventions, though she always fails to. Meanwhile, Agent Perry rides his newly presented rocket car from his lair, but it collides with Phineas and Ferb's launched shuttlecock and they change course. The brothers soon crash on Dr. Doof's building, destroying his interdimensional machine. The boys then apologize to Doof, and finding his idea of traveling to alternate dimensions to be cool, they help him rebuild his device. Suddenly, Agent Perry bursts inside the room to stop Doof, but he is shocked to see Phineas and Ferb, and so he has to pretend to be a mindless pet, and even Doof fails to recognize him. Perry then tries stopping them by snatching their tools and peeing on the sofa, but they end up successfully finishing the machine. Doof then opens up a portal to another dimension, and they all walk through it, into a world which has been subjugated by the evil Doof. There, and even Francis Monogram is his servant. Doof immediately requests to meet his other self, Doof 2, and they are too excited to discover that they also share the same interests, like best friends. However, Doof 2 is not amused by Doof's inability to conquer his greatest nemesis, Perry, the platypus from Earth, and he shows him the general of his evil army, Perry the Platyborg, whom he defeated and now serves him. Phineas, Ferb, and Perry soon join them, and Doof 2 recognizes Perry as the secret agent, but they fail to believe him. Doof 2 then orders Platyborg to attack Perry to get him to reveal himself, but Perry maintains his disguise. Doof 2 then orders Platyborg to hit the boys, but Perry intervenes, and he reveals his secret identity, startling everyone. Doof 2 then summons his robot army to seize them, while the kids also learn that Doof is actually not a scientist, but an evil villain. Perry then pulls them out through a window, and they manage to escape after Platyborg gets hit by a bus. Later, Phineas angrily confronts Perry about his double life, and Ferb asks him to concentrate on the issues at hand. Phineas tries to open up a portal to Earth using the machine's remote, but the portal leads to a different planet, so they decide to get help from their own versions in the second dimension. Elsewhere, evil Doof 2 gives lessons to Doof on how to successfully become evil, and since he is unable to conquer his world, Doof 2 plans to head over there to give it a shot himself. Back in Danville, Candace, Stacy, Isabella, and Baljeet find Buford at the park where Phineas and Ferb should have landed, but they learn that the boys didn't appear. Once again, Candace confirms that there is a mysterious force that always helps his brothers, and she returns with Stacy to the backyard, leaving the kids. Back in the second dimension, Phineas and Ferb find their counterparts in their home, and they also meet their sister, Candace 2, who oddly appears to be less curious than their usually nosy sister. Agent P then sees a news report from Doof 2 that he should turn himself in to avoid any harm to his friends, but as he leaves, he is stopped by Phineas and Ferb, who are disappointed in him, and Phineas tells Perry to go ahead and leave, as he can't trust Perry anymore. Afterwards, they meet second dimension Buford, who takes down a robot as he reveals that he used to be part of the resistance against Doof 2, but he became so good at it that he started resisting the resistance, too. Perry the Platypus surrenders himself to evil Doof 2, but he still claims he will have to capture the two boys, too, to help him build the portal to their first dimension. Meanwhile, the gang goes to Isabella's house, and they end up being tied by a team of resistance girls, and Isabella releases them after seeing it's her friend, Buford. Isabella then leads them to the second dimension, Dr. Baljeet, who can help with creating a portal back to Earth. Baljeet claims they will need a large amount of energy to get back to Earth, and he also introduces them to the leader of the resistance, second dimension Candace, who shows up and commands everyone to begin work to bring Phineas and Ferb back to their dimension. Back in Danville, while Candace and Isabella are searching the yard for the mysterious force helping their brothers, a portal opens up from the second dimension. However, before the guys cross over, they see a report that Perry the Platypus has been captured, and they have to rescue him. Before leaving, Candace jumps into the portal, and they have to tag her along in their journey to rescue Perry. On the way, Candace asks her serious counterpart if she loves slumber parties or trying to burst her brothers, but she reveals that her only focus is to win the war against evil Doof 2 and to protect her brothers. At the end, Candace too chooses not to accompany the lot, and she returns with her brothers, leaving the other gang, who are then cornered by Doof's gang, who are holding Perry. Perry presses a button on his watch, which shines a hologram of Major Monogram showering, and the robots look away, allowing the gang to escape in mining carts. Candace too skillfully fights the robots, chasing them, but there are too many, and she cuts off the hind carts to protect her brothers, leaving behind Phineas, Ferb, Perry, and Candace to be captured. Later, Doof 2 asks Phineas and Ferb to fix his machine, but they refuse, and Doof manages to get it started anyway. Doof 2 then sends Phineas, Ferb, Candace, Agent P, and even Doof to be devoured by a caged monster called Guzim. The gang attempts to escape, but they are cornered by more robots. But thankfully, Candace too arrives just in time and hands Phineas the portal remote controller. As they fall into the lava, Phineas opens up a portal, and they enter it into a different, flowery dimension, where some robots follow in before it closes. Back in the second dimension, Candace too gets captured by Doof's robots, as he plans to invade and conquer the first dimension. Meanwhile, the gang travels through different dimensions to escape the robots, and they finally get to the first dimension, where they meet their friends, Buford, Baljeet, and Isabella at the park. At the same time, Doof 2 arrives at Doof's building in Danville, from where he activates a portal, allowing more of his robots to invade Earth. Francis Monogram immediately calls Agent P to stop Dr. Doof, and he sees the kids and warns them to head home, where it's safer, and Perry goes alone. Back in the second dimension, imprisoned Candace 2 gets rescued by the second dimension Jeremy, Phineas 2, and Ferb 2. Candace 2 is really proud of her brothers, and together they go out to help out against evil Doof 2. Later, Phineas and Ferb find Perry's lair, and they receive a message that Agent P needs their help. The organization also hands them some more robot inventions, which the kids use to fight against the invading robots. During the battle, Phineas and Perry head to the top of Doof's building, where Perry fights with Platyborg while Doof 2 stops Phineas from attempting to close the portal. Meanwhile, Candace takes this golden chance to find her mom, so she could burst her brothers and fail once more. Perry eventually defeats Platyborg and hands Phineas a baseball, which he uses to hit the baseball from Doof 2, which then hits the robot satellite, and they all fall down, deactivated. Later, Doof 2 emerges in a giant robot and is about to smash Phineas, Ferb, and Perry. But Doof shows up and hands Doof 2 his childhood toy train. Doof 2 gets emotional since he once had such a toy, but lost it, and he apologizes for his wrongdoings. And he even presses a self-destruct button, which blows up all the robots. Candace and her mom come out to find all the robots gone, and she is so proud of herself for failing once more. Doof 2 then returns to his home world, but the Resistance arrests him. The Resistance then say goodbye to the First Dimension team, and they return home with a calmed-down Platyborg following them. Later, however, Francis Monogram informs the kids that Agent Perry will be sent away forever for blowing his cover. The kids ask if there is another way to keep their pet, and Carl suggests they use Doof's Amnesianator to wipe away their memories of that day. The kids agree to it, and they all line up along with Doof, and their memories are erased. Sometime later, Agent P enters his lair and watches the photos taken with him and his owners during the adventure, and he saves the photos, bringing the thrilling film to an end. Thanks a lot for watching, guys. If you like this video, please consider subscribing to our channel. I'll be back with another interesting movie recap. Until then, take care.